All right, welcome everybody to the final race in the summer series for the mini trucks. We've already got our final people here: Gunner Vender on red, Randy Kirtley on white, Robert LaFoon on green, Glenn on orange, Jackson on blue, and Gerald Whitaker on yellow. Everybody, oh, hang on one second, folks. Oh, okay. So Brian's a hired gun for Randy. Okay. All right, folks. So right now on White Lane, it is not Randy Kirtley, but it's actually Brian Vender. It's going to run for Randy Kirtley while he's working on his Group 12, trying to get it up and running. We just got back from a vacation last week. It's a pretty good vacation, but I'll tell you what, it's very stressful. Got in this morning and found out that the whole system had wiped out, so I had to redo it from the ground up. So you'll see a little bit of differences in our live stream here today, but not too big of a deal. We're going to go ahead and come back over here to the oval. As you can see, the oval now takes up the whole screen here. The strike system stuff worked. Took me about an hour or so to get it all fixed, but hopefully it's coming in good. I hope it ain't too loud or too quiet, but we'll just have to wait and see. Right now we got Glenn Burden, Jackson Daugherty, and Robert LaFoon over there talking to each other as they get ready to have a race. We've been staying the past couple of nights here at Lanes Raceway watching the North-South 100 dirt race here in the shop, so that's been pretty good. Coming up next, we got our big series for the fall time, and it is the last of the 4 crowns to be decided. After today, we're going to get a little bit of info from the race winner after we get the points and stuff added up, what's going to be going on to the 4 crowns. But I think pretty much everybody wants NASCAR for the most part. So we'll have to wait and see. But I believe Fairview IT Cup Series is what's probably going to make it through. I don't think the Truck Series is going to make it. All season long, the Fairview IT, other than one time, has been our main event. All right, we got 6 racers. Are you guys ready? Watch your lights, and let's get this baby underway. 8 beautiful heats in the mini truck series. It's been a pretty good truck series for sure. I've enjoyed it. These guys, keeping pretty good pace with one another here with the truck series, as you can tell. No truck really outshines another, and that's something to be said for sure. Right now we got Jackson Daugherty there on blue. Last week had a hired gun of Randy Kirtley driving for him. He's now representing a pink dot on his truck. He could end up getting a pink dot today if he ends up winning this race. But he's got the truck to do it. He's just going to have to make it happen. As we see a car getting out of his lane and jumping into another one there. We'll see who this is before they receive a strike. And it looks like that's Glenn Burden, who is on orange lane, going to take a first strike there. So far so good. It looks like the strike board's working still. Music in the background, Epidemic Sound. We pay yearly for that. For those that was wondering about the music. We still, every once in a while, receive copyright claims on it, which I don't know how that's possible, being that we pay for it, but nonetheless, Robert LaFoon going to take a strike there. But it's easily clearable once you go, for those that are trying to feel some background noise if you're running copyrighted music in your shop and you don't want it to get on the stream. It's a good alternative for that. Plus, the music's decent. It's okay. And we do appreciate having a place that we can go to for that. So if you're trying to start a slot car stream or something like that, definitely check out Epidemic Sound. As we got another car off here, that's going to be 2 strikes for Glenn Burden. Jay Latham not here today. He may have had to take him another load or something. I know he works out throughout the week. Dana Durham also, our track marshal, usually on the weekends. He's probably on the road trying to see if Jackson's going to make it. Right now, Jackson Darty in the lead, 29 total laps there on Blue Lane. If I'm not mistaken, other than Gerald Whitaker, he is the lowest on the totem pole. Everybody else is above him, so he needs to make as many laps as he possibly can while he's on the bottom. Making risky transitions there. Gerald down on yellow. He's going to have to make that pass, and he does so nice and cleanly there through Dead Man's Corner. Gerald Whitaker, of course, there on yellow lane. As we see Jackson Darty picking up the speed there with his trucks. He comes up on the inside of Glenn Burden on orange. Glenn Burden really pushing hard there on orange, holding a nice progressive pace there. Jackson wanting to make the pass. Oh, and they go in side by side. They race each other clean, and a nice, beautiful transition taking place between the two racers. It's what you like to see between these guys when they can go in that corner and both of them keep their back ends under control and not slop back and forth and get into each other. So Jackson's able to keep that. Now he's going to have to stay in the pedal coming out of Dead Man's Corner if he wants to keep Glenn off his back. Now Glenn's going to be trying to push as hard as he can on that orange lane to keep those laps up. It is a battle between Glenn, Gunner, and Jackson for the top 3 positions today. So it's still anybody's ball game as we move over here to the track mate, and we take a look here at Jackson turning 51 laps. Like I said, one other car below him would be Gerald Whitaker, and he turned 46. 49 and 49 for Glenn and Randy, tied for second position, and Gerald, of course, there in fourth with 46, tied with Robert LaFoon. Gunner Vendor there on red lane turning 43 laps. Now the lanes you want to kind of keep an eye on, especially in oval track racing, are your upper 2 lanes and your lower 2 lanes, because the people that turn the quicker laps on those are usually the ones that end up pulling off with the victory. So we see 49 total laps there on white for Randy as basically a benchmark for who can get higher than that on white or red. 1 minute and 45 seconds before we go back green racing. We head over here to the oval and we can see these guys work a little bit. But first I need to remember to clear out the strike system. Let's see if the escape button works. It would if I had the thing on. There we go. That's a lot easier. So before I was having to clear it out through the software, but now it looks like I'm able to clear it out through the keyboard. Jackson, you got your truck in order? Oh yeah? Letting Jesus take the wheel? Well, that's always a good thing, I guess. Are you, you think you're going to pull it out? You ain't going to pull it out? You think you're going to lose? Man, I don't know if I would be thinking like that. Podium on Max. Huh. Well, you ran in there pretty good and clean with Glenn right before the break. But at the very beginning, did you get into Glenn? Did you do that intentionally? All right. Well, so far so good there, Jackson. I hope you end up doing well. You better go work on your car and get it ready to go. You got 20 seconds. Later on today, we're going to do our auction for the pink dots and the yellow dots. For those that don't know what a pink dot and yellow dot is, if you win a race, you get a pink dot put on your vehicle for the race. Now, it's kind of like a target on your back. But if you win with a pink dot, you get a pink dot. And so it takes 2 races to accumulate one, but the prizes are very, very good. And there's going to be an auction for these prizes. So the prizes are for the upcoming 4 crowns and maybe a little bit before that, depending on if you choose so. But everybody's going to have a chance to take their pink dots, or in the case of the rookie series, 2 yellow dots equal 1 pink dot, and use them in the auction. Now we only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that we're going to be auctioning, so I don't even think we have that many pink dots, to be honest. But it looks like we got a strike for orange and red before I get too far off track here. and I'll just go over some of them with you. So run any flexi car chassis in the Fairview during the 4 Crowns. That's if the Fairview makes it. We might have to do a little bit of alternating for that as we get a stalled car through orange. Push him through the dead zone. Run a Group 27 for 2 races in the Group 20 class during the 4 Crowns, which that's already been solidified. We know that's going. You can trade it for 1 month membership. No strikes given in a race weekend for the 4 Crowns. That's another one. And no timer on car fixes for the whole 4 Crowns. So these are pretty big little boosts that you can get. And we'll wait and see who ends up getting each one of those. We'll write their name down so that whenever, for instance, no strikes given, if one of these cars was to wreck right now and they had that on their car, a little sticker that says no strikes given, then we would not give them a strike, and they could basically wreck as many times as they want. But, you know, I mean, these guys don't get those pink dots from being bad racers, so it's not as good of a thing as you think it might be. Jackson Daugherty now down on purple lane with 93 total laps, a best lap time of 2.190. Decently competitive. I think we've seen it in the 1.9s down on black and even on purple. Glenn Burden now on white lane with 92 laps. He's really hauling the mill if they're on white lane, 93 total. Robert LaFoon, he's 94 laps there on blue lane. He's holding a consecutive, nice, smooth little lap there as we see some lap traffic and a red flag to take place. Heading over to the track mate, we can see Jackson Daugherty 1 lap up on Robert LaFoon from the blue lane. So Jackson's car is decently quicker than Robert so far, but there's still a whole lot of racing. Some of these cars perform a little bit better on the high side versus the low side, so we'll wait and see on that. 46 laps there on green for Robert LaFoon against Gunner's 49. So Gunner holding down a 49er is pretty good. Randy Kirtley was able to turn 46 laps there on red to Gunner's 43. So Randy Kirtley's car about 3 laps faster on the high side than Gunner, but Gunner's car always performing a little bit better down low, so we'll see what he has to offer when he gets down low. Jackson Daugherty, of course, with the 54 laps right now, ahead of all of them there on purple lane with a total of 105 laps. Minute and 45 seconds before we go back green racing. We're taking a look here at some of the racers as they mark their cars to get ready for the next heat. I keep hitting track mate instead of strike to clear it, so we need to clear the strikes out. Not a whole lot of strikes given that time. Later on this evening, we're going to be having a GRC race, which is the rookie stuff, and we'll be giving away a prize for them at the banquet next week. And it'll go to first place. If they don't show up to the banquet, of course, it'll go to the next person in line. But nonetheless, once you've won one, you can't win another one. That's how it is. You got to basically move up into the Pro Series or the Intermediate Series stuff that we have here at Lanes Raceway. But it's a pretty good prize. Last time Gunner ended up getting it, he got a box made from Jay Latham, a slot car box, and it's really nice. So this time, I don't know, we might give away a soldering iron and a controller probably.
How you feeling about this race, Jack?
And then our
kind of bad,
Pro
really.
Series gets $500 and a check.
Nerves kicking in.
Racing check.
You got
that
it,
they
Jack,
get their
man.
name
You
on.
got
Now
it.
they can hang it up here at Lanes Raceway, or they can take it home. It's theirs as soon as
You wanna
it's
say hi to
all said
anybody?
and done. So big
Not
check
really.
they keep as a trophy.
To my family.
And then we have our banquet,
Hi, family.
which will be next week, and we're going to do some chicken wings with different kinds of dips. And I'm just going to set out all day and fry chicken wings. And then we'll just come in, bring them in. The guys can eat them until they're full, and then we'll do our ceremonies where we have the guys come up, accept their prizes if they got any in the podium, and we'll move on. So we got 4 red lights dropping out to a green. Jackson Daugherty's still your leader, but Glenn Burden's pushing it hard there on red lane. So we can see him staying pretty close to even purple lane up there on red lane. And that's Robert LaFoon down on purple, currently in 3rd position. Randy Kirtley still working on a Group 12. We have there in the red shirt, that's Brian Bender being a hired trigger for Randy Kirtley. I've had a few people ask me why I didn't race for Bruce today. Well, for one, Bruce has a tire messed up on a Group 12, but Bruce has all 4 of his races now, so he has all the points he's going to need to have a position here in the Summer Series. And plus, I was starting to get some complaints from people while I was on vacation for not commentating the race. So, anyways, I'm back commentating the race. So that's going to be a strike there on White Lane. White Lane, that's Gerald Whitaker. First wreck that we've seen in this heat. A lot of clean racing here in the truck series we're seeing. 58 seconds left to go in the heat. Right now, best lap time is Jackson Daugherty with a 2.114 on Black Lane, with median of 2.16. So he is running his heart out here today. Called me earlier this morning. He's like, man, I'm nervous. I'm not going to make it. So, those kind of nerves kind of refine you a little bit. As long as he can keep his head, he'll be pretty good. Right up there on Blue Lane, just above him, is Gunnar Bender, another one running for that top 3 position. And it's very, very close between Gunnar, Jackson, and Glenn Burden. Last week, Glenn Burden had it in the bag in the NASCAR race and got into an incident. And that's what we kind of see a lot of the times on the oval track, is a lot of incidents taking place in the NASCAR or the faster series, whether it be IndyCar or something like that. And, I mean, you could be ahead 20 or 30 laps and have it in the bag and just have a lot of things go wrong. And that's what happened for Glenn last week. But other than that, he probably has right now the fastest Fairview IT Cup car. So we'll see how that goes later on this evening. He definitely needs a win there. Jackson Daugherty right now turning his Black Lane, 57 total laps. Total laps of 162 on average, 54 laps. So Jackson, he's starting to finish up with his lower lanes. The next lane will be yellow, and that'll be the last one. So we're starting to see Gunnar now there off of Blue Lane, turning one more lap than Jackson. So it's just like I said, Gunnar's car tends to perform just a little bit better on the lower lanes than the upper lanes. So we also see a tie up between Gunnar and Randy there, 49 laps on green. So very competitive. Glenn Burden, though, don't count him out, 49 laps on orange, so somewhere mid-base there. 48 and 47 up on red lane. So we're going to start seeing Glenn climb too. 1 minute and 43 seconds before we go back racing. Yet again, I need to clear the strike board. So I'll go ahead and clear that. 1 strike last heat given, so not too bad. In our next series, it's only getting hotter from here, folks. So in our next series on the fall series, we're going to have a couple of changes in the rules. Some of them are still kind of floating around there. So we're still going to have the 3-strike system, but we're adding blue flags and black flags. Now, we had some other talks about instigating and stuff like that. We don't know if we're going to actually have instigating rules put in or not, but basically an instigating rule is like if you're on the inside and you just drive it deep just to knock somebody off, then you're the instigator and you get a strike. Both cars go back to the start finish line, but the guy on the outside that just took a beating wouldn't get a strike. And then the same thing would go if you're on the outside and you just lock them up in dead man's corner and brake check somebody off, then now you're the instigator. But we haven't really decided if we're going to go that route or not. We might just keep it blue flag, black flag. Jackson giving me a fist bump right there. 30 seconds left to go before we go back green racing. We see Glenn Burden there. He's taking Robert LaFoon's car around to the high banks there. Our summer series shirts, I had them all made up, ready to order. I get on there today to order them, and they have deleted my account. So we got to come up with another t-shirt group. If you got any people you know of, send me a Facebook private message. We might go through them. Now we need somebody else to do the art. We don't do the art here. I just pick, clip art and stuff and put it together. But nonetheless, I got to get these guys some summer shirts. So Spreadshirt kind of done me dirty there and deleted my stuff. They usually do us pretty good, and I like Spreadshirt all right, but for some reason they deleted it. So now I got to try to come up with a different design. I tried to mess with it a little bit yesterday before I come into work. But man, I mean, they've just took so much stuff out of there that used to be there, and it's kind of disappointing. I'll make something happen for the guys. You know, here at Lanes Raceway, we always take care of our racers here, and we do appreciate them. And we like to give them good banquets, good payouts, you know, T-shirts, show them that we do appreciate them. That's where 90% of Lanes Raceway's money goes, right back into their pockets. And we do appreciate them coming and buying parts from us. So they tend to buy a lot more parts from us for that. 1 minute left in this heat. We're midway through right now. Jackson Daugherty finishing up his bottom lanes, 186 there on yellow lane. Robert LaFoon, though, making a little bit of a catch there, 27, 28 laps there. And we also see Gunner now taking into third position. And Randy Kirtley there in fourth position, still being ran by Brian Bender. So a pretty hardcore top four. But we also see Glenn Burden there right neck and neck with Randy Kirtley's car. Both of these cars are quite quick. Gerald Whitaker up on red lane there. He is just ripping. We've seen a lot of progression here from Gerald Whitaker just in this past season. He started out right before the season started, messing around a little bit more with oval track racing. And he has developed himself quite well, as we can see here. A big change from the very beginning with him. So we get our first wreck here. So we see green. So that's Randy Kirtley and Glenn Burden taking a strike. So green and blue. 19 seconds left to go in the heat. That's most likely going to be our only strike this heat. Like I said, these trucks really hook, and they run very, very close to one another. 16 seconds left to go. Jackson Daugherty at 2.280 for his best lap. He's about a tenth off the median between Robert and Gunner. So Gunner and him and Robert both are going to gain about 3 laps on Jackson that heat alone. Going over to the strikes here, we're going to go ahead and clear those out and then head to the track mate. So the average dropping from 54 on average for Jackson to 53.2. We're seeing Robert and Gunner both increasing their average. Robert to 51, 49.5 for Gunner. Now we're seeing a little bit more of what we're wanting to see here on the lower lanes. 55 to 57 for Robert and Jackson, so a couple laps difference there. 54 and 53, so 1 lap difference there. Gunner there tied up 54 on purple, actually gaining a lap there on blue with Jackson. So they tied up there on purple. See how they progress between these two here. Still a whole lot of racing left to go. That was our 4th heat ready to roll down. 50 laps for Glenn Burden on green. He's got everybody by at least a lap on there. So still a whole lot of racing left to go. Our top 3 still battling it out. Who's going to oil their car better? Who's going to keep their car in better condition is what's going to end up bringing this one home. Now, these motors are not so much affected that I've noticed by heat as much as other motors, but it does affect them a little bit. As the race progresses on, if you're not on the lower lanes at the beginning, you're not going to get maybe that extra lap that you need. But I think that extra lap comes in more handy on the upper lane. So if you can start at the upper lanes at first and turn that extra lap, you know, you are building more heat there, but it's harder to get laps up top than it is down low. So I don't know. People argue whether you want to start on yellow or you want to start on green, but just really depends on everybody out there racing. You guys know that. If everybody's wrecking, you know, you definitely want to start on yellow because you want to get out of those wrecks by staying low. But if, you know, there's not a whole lot of wrecks going on, then starting on green would probably be best, because then you're starting up on one of your high lanes right out of the gate, then you go low. So anywho, 24 seconds left to go before we go back green racing. We still have a whole lot of racing left here for you today. Group 12 cars coming up after the break, and we're going to be running those for double the points. It'll be the last race for that too. Gunner, the past 2 races, he's brought home the victory. Got him a car built here at Lanes Raceway, and that thing's really been shining. So we'll see if he can bring home another victory here today and get him double the points. He needs it. He's got to have it if he wants to try to get Jackson today. Going back green racing, 157. Jackson Daugherty into our 5th heat here. still in the lead, but he's going to the high side. 10 laps separates him from Robert Laffoon. Robert Laffoon there, of course, in second position here. Going to come get him some points today, it looks like. And this has probably been, if not, one of the best truck races that we've had here. Not a whole lot of wrecks. Now, we don't have a full field here. We're actually shy of 2 people this weekend. But with the weather being what it is and the summer series are winding down, the heat's winding down too, and people are out boating, fishing, golfing, riding bikes, trying to absorb as much heat as they can before they know fall time and winter time's coming. The hoodie weather's coming, as a couple of my friends used to say. We're going to be getting the hoodies out here soon. But I'll tell you what, just because it's getting cold outside don't mean it ain't getting hot in the racetrack. The heat's actually going to pour in pretty hot here in the wintertime for Lanes Raceway. It tends to be the best time to come slot car race. Everybody wants to come during the wintertime, so we always have a pretty good wintertime. That's why we always put the 4 Crowns in the wintertime. Get the most people. Last year, I think we had 15 or 16 people in the 4 Crowns series. So we'll see how many people we get this time. Now, we pay out top 10 positions, and of course, you have to have ran in one of our series. So let's say you missed all the series this year, but you ran in a series last year, you ran in the 4 Crowns last year, you can automatically come back in. Now, if you miss a full year in a row without any kind of racing, then you got to get yourself back in a series where you can get in. So there is somewhat of kind of keeping you from getting into the prestigious 4 Crowns here at Lanes Raceway. 9 seconds left to go in the heat, and we got our first wreck. And that is going to be on Randy Kirtley, Purple Lane. And we got another wreck. Looks like somebody might have lost their eyesight there on the car, and that's going to be Gerald Whitaker going to take one on green lane. 3 seconds left to go in the heat. Right now, just a little bit of an update for the new Lanes Raceway, the bigger building. We're moving into a place about 4 times the size of this one. And it's just right down the road, believe it or not. So that's even more convenient for those that are already here racing. Jackson Darty, 263. Robert Laffoon, 255. 254 for Gunnar Vender. 246, Glenn Burden. Randy Kirtley, 244. Gerald Whitaker, 213. Well, like I said, we are going to be moving into a new facility here shortly. We got the guys that are down there right now painting the roof, finally. That's been a couple-month ordeal trying to get that going on. So we finally got some people actually doing some work. So if the roof is sealed and we don't have any leaks, hopefully we'll be in there before the 4 Crowns, folks. We get there, it's going to be a whole lot better situation, internet-wise, not to mention room-wise for all of the guys. Get down there and get some cameras set up for the 4 Crowns, maybe do a little bit different setup on the live stream, converting this computer over basically to be nothing but a live stream computer. Try to get a guy to run the computer while I do the commentating, and while we have another person do the cameras would be great. And then we'll have a little bit better views, maybe get some more action shots. And my brother's been working on some AI technology to track the cars, so I think we'll have some of that too. So the kind of did it one time in a dirt race where I took a camera and was like following it, and it kind of gave us the idea that that could be possible. And a lot of people really enjoyed that. So we get AI to follow these cars and do a lot of other stuff. A little fist bump there for Action Jackson as he goes back. 55 seconds before they go green racing. 2 round robin heats left to go. Moving down there to the new track, though, we'll be getting a new drag strip, quarter-mile drag strip from Giannis. And our old drag strip, I think we're converting it into a tractor pool. Not really taking off a whole lot here at Lanes Raceway. We're still working on getting some of the parts together for tractor pools. Of course, to add multiple motors into a slot car, Whose is it? You just bought that? Oh, you took pictures of it? Yeah, I can't afford that. Yeah, I can't afford that. 5 seconds left to go. Sorry, folks. Zach showed me a picture, some pictures he was taking of a car. It was a Toyota Supra. I thought Zach bought it. I was like, man, it's big time. Then my wife said, only $47,000. Yeah, we don't have that kind of money here. 1 minute and 55 seconds. Jackson Daugherty still hanging on to the lead. 2 heats left to go, and they've got it within 8 laps. So it's going to be close. We'll see what happens here. Jackson Daugherty there on white lane. He's going to go to red after this and then back down to green. I think he'll finish on green, right? So white, red, green. Yeah, he'll finish on green lane. So he's really got to push some times here if he wants to keep this pink dot. He's going to have to, I don't know who had strikes there. I wasn't paying attention, sorry folks. But so far we haven't had an issue with people striking out here, not even anywhere close. And the guys are pretty honest. If you haven't noticed, sometimes whenever I can't do the strike system, I've noticed at least more than a few times in past streams that I couldn't do it, that they were very honest in keeping their own strikes. So Jackson Daugherty, about a 1/10 of a second difference between him, best lap wise, and Robert Laffoon. Their medians though pretty close, within 0.03 of a second, so that's very competitive. Jackson needs to keep that up and keep it within that 1 lap. Now Gunnar Bender, he's about 0.2 median faster, but he's down on yellow, so he's going to gain a couple laps, maybe exchange with Robert Laffoon on this heat. He's got to get 1 more lap up, and right now he is a lap up on Robert Laffoon, so we'll see. Glenn Burden there on purple. He's going to get stand to make the most here, 2.239 and a average of a 2.28. As we see Gunnar now taking over that second position here. He's climbing up. As we're getting closer to the backside here, we see another car coming off here, and that is going to be Gerald Whitaker on blue taking a strike there. The first one that I seen, there was one before this, but I wasn't able to actually see that. 4 red lights dropping out to a green. Here we go. Jackson Daugherty still hanging on to it, but it's getting closer and closer. A little bit of a nail biter here as Gunnar Bender there taking up some of those lower lanes. We see a strike there for Randy Kirtley on black lane. Four red lights dropping out to green. 37 seconds left to go. Gunnar Bender within 6 laps to Jackson Daugherty, our leader. And we're looking at about 0.2 of a second different between these two. But Jackson Daugherty still running good there as compared to Robert Laffoon, 2 laps or 2 sections below him, within 0.02 of a second on their medians. Both of them running right there together. 41 laps for Jackson, 43 for Robert Laffoon so far. With 9 seconds left to go. 5 laps in between Gunnar and Jackson. And that is red flag rotation. Heading over to the track mate here, we see Gunnar had a 51 yellow lane, so he's going to tie it up with Jackson Daugherty and Robert Laffoon. So we'll see about a 1 lap difference between Jackson, Gunnar, and Robert Laffoon there, 53, 54, 54. Jackson Daugherty 57, the most turns so far on black lane, 56 for Gunnar, 55 for Robert Laffoon. And we see 1 lap difference between Robert and Jackson. Jackson able to make 50. Gunnar with 49, 46 for Robert and him. So, like I said, Jackson and Gunnar there, right there side by side. Gunnar was able to get 1 lap on him on blue, and Jackson got 1 lap on Gunnar on black. Other than that, we got a tied up ball game here. 51.7 and 50.8 is the average laps. Going to go to the strikes here and clear those out. Go over to the oval. We got 1 minute and 36 seconds before we go back green racing. I'm going to take a small break here and grab me something to drink. I'll be right back with you. Test. All right, we're back racing. Got a flag call here. And that's going to be purple lane. Several cars getting involved in the incident here. Yellow and black. Another car coming off here. That's going to be Gerald Whitaker. His second. That's three. I only have two, but I might have missed it. Okay. I mean, I might have missed it. Is that his third time, everybody? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, folks, I missed one. All right, so Gerald's going to be out for the rest of the heat. 4 red lights dropping out to green. 55 seconds left to go in the heat. That's going to be a strike on yellow. Randy Kirtley with 2 strikes now. 1 strike for Glenn Burden. Jackson Darty currently in the lead by 1 lap right now. 20 seconds left to go in the heat. And that's a heat over. We're going to take a look here at the track mate here. All right, so now we can see here showing Gunner right now in the lead on average, 51-51. Jackson Daugherty there, 51 on average. Glenn Burden, 50.4. And that's your top three, and it's top three as it comes to the points currently right now. Robert Laffoon right now, 350. He's 3 laps down from Glenn Burden, 345 for Randy Kirtley, and Gerald Whitaker, 40.3. All right, going to take it over to the oval. We'll be right back with you.
Starts in 1 minute.
I think you ought to go to school again this year.
Hey, she's out.
I know. I think she needs to go back.
No, she ain't
Go
going
back.
Race starts in 20 seconds.
He's got to go something on his butt, don't he? Cody, he's got to sit down on his butt, don't he?
All right, folks. Well, last heat here, round robin, 8 of 8, 2 minutes of hard racing. See a close little battle between Gunner and Jackson here. Jackson, of course, down on the lower lane here. You see a little bit of traffic coming up here, but it's heel and toe here for sure. One minute left to go in the heat. We got some close racing here. Big packs packing up here. Jackson already at second. Gunner in first, 380, 380. Glenn Burden, 377. Robert Laffoon up there on red, 372. Randy Kirtley, 370. Gerald Whitaker, 308 down there on Black Lane. No wrecks to be had so far. Kind of uneventful little heat here. 50 seconds left to go. And pretty much gridlock between Gunner and Jackson as we get our first yellow flag here down low. And that's going to be Glenn Burden on yellow, receiving his first strike. He is currently in third position here. .30 seconds left to go. Very, very close. We got a car to the outside here. That's going to be a strike on red for Robert Laffoon. And there's your checkered flag. Gunnar Bender is going to stop Jackson from getting a pink dot this week. And that's 406 tied up. But Gunnar was actually ahead there towards the end by about 4 car lengths. 404 for Glenn Burden there in third, just 2 laps down from those two. Randy Kirtley, 394, 393 for Robert LaFoon. Gerald Whitaker, 333 as my wife gets a picture here. So Gunnar's going to be able to get 5 points up on Jackson there. So we head over to strikes. We'll clear these out. Come back over to our main menu here. Get everything restarted back for the next race, which will be our Group 12 race on the high banks here. Hope you guys enjoyed our final race here for the mini trucks here at Lanes Raceway. It might go to the 4 Crowns, it might not. It just really depends on who wins this thing. Right now, Jackson Darney, I think, is up by about 35 points, so he lost 5 points there. But the next race is really going to be a big decider on maybe getting 10 points versus not getting 10 points. So we'll see. It might come down to a tie-off race maybe. Still a lot to go between Gunnar, Jackson, and Glenn. These top 3 guys, as you can see, top 3 here off the track, mate. They're still top 3 when it comes to the points, too. So stay tuned for the next race, Group 12X on the orange. And we'll have the FCR race, hard bodies, on the oval coming up next, followed by our main event and final race of the evening, Fairview IT Cup Series here at Lanes Raceway. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless you, and I'll see you here in just a few minutes when we start the Group 12 race.